Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with the Adventures of the Memory Makers. Got a short one here for you today, but I'm going to share something with you that's changed my life. And if you're like me, you probably have or want a tow dolly to move your camper in and out of your garage and around your property. Well, I always wanted one, but I was very hesitant to get one because even though the apron here in front of the shop is pretty level, the moment you come out of the garage, you start downhill, and the second you get off the apron, you go down a big hill. And moving our own camper, I wasn't too worried about it, but when we started doing work for other people, it would be so handy to have a tow dolly to move those campers around, but I just did not want to take a chance of losing someone's camper down the hill. So I got to thinking about it, and I did a quick internet search. What I wanted was a tow dolly that had brakes on it so that I could control the trailer, slow it down, and stop it before it ran me over. I have a friend, he's a little guy about 5'2". His landscaping trailer nearly ran him over. So it's easy for these things to gain momentum a lot faster than what you think they would. And in fact, I've worked on several that have had big dents in the back of them where they either ran into a tree or a pole on someone's property when it got away from them. So to me, it was really critical to have a tow dolly with brakes. So in my search, couldn't find one. The closest I came was Northern Wholesale sells a dolly with essentially bicycle brakes on the two wheels, and it had hand grips just like on a bicycle handlebars where you squeeze the grips. I know how well those work on a bicycle, so for $300 I wasn't feeling that. So if you know anything about us and watch our channel, one of my mottos is if you can't buy it, build it. So that's what I did. So I started scrounging around, and it was actually pretty simple to put this together, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So this actually turned out to be a pretty easy project, and one I think that you guys can duplicate at home pretty easily. So what I was able to find was I knew what I needed to do. I needed to get power to my electric brakes in a controlled manner. So I started looking for a variable resistor, which is essentially what your trailer controller or brake controller is. After about 2 weeks of searching, I gave that idea up. I backed up and started looking at just a cheap generic brake controller because it's already got the resistor built into it. So I found one online. So once I got that problem solved, then I needed to find a way to actually power all this. And not always, in our case, we don't have a battery in our camper right now. So I can't draw power from the battery in the camper to power my controller. So I need to come up with a way so I could easily power this whole contraption without having to worry about pulling power back from the camper. So I was able to do that real simply on Amazon and other places. You can get these converters, and what it does is it takes your power tool battery. In this case, I use Dewalt tools, and it's got a Dewalt socket right here that your battery slides into. So you can use a 20 volt when it's actually an 18 volt battery, but they say it's 20. So you can put your battery right into that. It goes down to this power converter right here, which takes that 18 volts and converts it back to 12 volts at 10 amps. And then that power runs right up to my brake controller right here. And really the only thing I need on this is the slide. And I can operate that easily with my thumb. I can just reach over here and slide that over. It's a very cheap brake controller, and that was fine. All I needed was this slide part right here. So once I activate this sends the signal back down to this 7-way female plug, which is this unit right here. And I just bolted onto the beam of my tow dolly. And this is my 7-way whip from the trailer itself. And that just plugs in there like that, and that's how simple it is. So once you slide your battery in the socket, connect your trailer up to it, then it's a matter of just using the tow dolly like you normally would. So you can easily move your camper around, and when you want to slow down, you can just slide your finger over and it will stop just like that. And you're going backwards, same deal. You get the camper rolling, slide that over, and bam, it stops, just like that. Now, I didn't even think about this when I built this because that was the only part that I was worried about. I wanted to be able to slow the camper down, stop the camper at will without having it run over me or go down the hill and get away from me. And it does that very well. The other thing that it does, and like I said, didn't even think about this, is this now becomes a brake test unit for me. So when owners bring their campers to us to get worked on, I have them park it right here on this flat apron. And the first thing I do is I hook this tow dolly up to their camper. And immediately, within seconds, I can check to see if their brakes are, one, working, or within adjustment tolerances, or just don't flat work at all. And I bet half the campers that show up here, they have no brakes. You know, you may hear the hum of the magnets, but the brakes are so far out of adjustment that they're just making contact, and the camper just rolls freely back and forth with full brake application. So that right then tells us that we need to adjust those brakes, which in the Dexter brake or Dexter axle in this situation, that's every 3,000 miles. So you know, most people don't even think about it. You know, the camper's small enough that most cars will stop it. But if you're pulling a camper like this with a smaller vehicle, you want these trailer brakes to work, because most small vehicles, the brakes are already kind of subpar anyway. You throw a couple thousand pounds behind it and then the momentum of that camper on top of it, you want these brakes to be working. So I am just tickled to death with this setup. I'm going to leave a list of parts that I used in the description if anybody wants to duplicate this. The tow dolly I actually got off of Amazon, and I did it because I thought it looked like a little heavier unit than the one at Harbor Freight. The tires are bigger. They offered an option for run flat tires. I just thought it was a little better setup for what I was wanting to do with it, and been tickled to death with it. I did add an extension to it here to raise the ball up, because that's about the height that I wanted for the hitch right there. And what I do is I set my tongue jack up so that I can slip this 4x6 or a 4x4 underneath that. And then when I lower this down, I can disconnect my tow dolly real easily. So that way I don't have to go messing around with my tongue jack all the time. It's just set and ready to go. So overall, I just have been thrilled with this. Everybody that comes and sees it is just, you know, curious about it. You know, what do they got to do to get one? Several people have told me, you know, that's exactly what they need for their house because they're on a slope or it comes out of the garage at them really fast. So, you know, like I said, it's just been a super tool for me here around the shop to have. So thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, happy camping.